One of the main copes I hear obese people and fat people always say is that it's genetic. That obesity is just genetic and they just inherited it. Their parents are fat and they were fat as a baby or something, and like it's just the way they are. That is absolutely not true, no matter what you say, alright? Yes, there are in fact genes in humans that influence the amount of body fat you could potentially store. Okay? There are genes that influence uh, metabolism. Yes, there are. But the thing is, fundamentally, obesity is a health issue caused by metabolic dysfunction and mitochondrial dysfunction, all right? It's essentially the same thing, all right? Um, so if you took a fat person and you put them in an environment where, say, they did uh, fasting for 4 days at a time, and then every time they ate, one day they had a day of eating, and they ate only meat, eggs, fish, and cheese. All right, they only ate protein and fat. All right, with high amounts of nutrients, high amounts of minerals and vitamins and such, and no carbs really. And then they repeated that whilst doing intense exercise, like say sprinting, not jogging or cardio, but doing like sprinting and lifting heavy weights, like doing deadlifts and bench press and stuff. Then, or even just calisthenics, maybe they're just doing push ups and pull ups and stuff. And in 6 months, do you think they will still be fat? No, of course they won't. Because everything I just told you is extremely effective for burning body fat. If you want to learn the science of how that works, then I've got other videos on my channel that you can check and you can see the scientific explanation of how that works, all right? I'm not going to explain in this video, but in short, what I just said, if you did that, you would not be fat anymore. Within, depending on how much fat you currently have, then within 3 to 12 months, you would not be fat at all. You would be lean. You'd probably have a six pack, all right, if you're a guy. If you're a woman, you'd still be quite athletic, lean, and healthy, and you would have cured obesity. And this, by the way, doesn't matter what genes you have, like whether you've inherited an allele for storing higher body fat. Well, that really only determines your upper threshold for how fat you could potentially get. Because you know, like the world records for fattest people ever are like 600 kilos. It's like 600 kilo fat guy versus 400 kilogram fat guy. That's what those genes determine, is like how fat can you get, because genes can help increase the amount of body fat storage or whatever. There is no gene that makes you automatically fat, all right? Because when you do these things, the hormones that you actually raise and lower, like how you were changing your hormones, basically makes it impossible for you to not burn fat, all right? It's physically not possible for you to stay fat when you do the things I just said. You can't remain fat like that, because your body fat is there for a reason as well, I might add. It has a purpose, it has a biological purpose. The reason why we evolved body fat is so it can be used for survival. And when you do the things I just said, the systems associated with that stimulate it to be actually utilized for that purpose of survival. It aligns with its purpose, like the fasting, the intense exercise, those sorts of things. And there's other things as well, all right? But those key things put you in an environment where that's the purpose of body fat. So you're not going to be able to, firstly, you're not going to be able to store any body fat, all right? You can't physically get fatter. And then secondly, you're going to be burning fat aggressively for energy. So its intended biological purpose is now active, and given time, you will burn through all of the body fat you have, all right? It's not genetic. Stop coping, all right? Because that's the reason you're still fat right now, is because you have decided that it's not your fault. Well, look, it isn't your fault. It's the processed food and the companies that made you eat it, all right, and that made the food so that you can eat it. Technically, yeah, it's their fault, but it's your responsibility because none of those companies are ever going to take responsibility for their actions. They were only doing it for profit so they could make money out of you so that you'd become a permanent consumer, an addict of their food, all right? That's what they wanted, and they got their money. They've got their money now. It's up to you to change because it's not impossible, let alone like it really isn't that hard if you do the right things, all right? If you do the right things, then biology is in your favor. Biology will help you because like the reason that the things I said work so well is because that's its intended purpose, all right? So all your stored fat will just essentially get melted off, all right? And used for energy and then exhaled as CO2 and water, all right? That's all that ends up happening. So you end up losing all of this body fat and you become healthier and leaner and more attractive and more fertile and less likely to die prematurely and less likely to have any of these diseases. In fact, probably significant lowering of you getting different diseases, all right? So, if you want to learn how to fully burn body fat as quickly as possible, I have a community you can join, a program that will absolutely make you get lean really quickly because it does align with nature, with the intended purpose of body fat, and with the science of how body fat works, all right? You will be transformed. So please join the community if you need that. And also, of course, subscribe because then you can watch other videos of mine that will also help you. And it's free. So you might as well. And you can learn more about body fat and the things you can do to burn body fat. So check my other videos. And I hope this helps you realize like it's not genetic. There are genetic factors, but they do not determine your fate. Your environment determines your fate. Your decisions determine your fate. All right? And it's up to you. No one's going to make you get lean for you except for me because I've researched it extensively and I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so anyway, I hope this helps you. And with that, good luck, bro.